We turned ours on. Except we. Yeah, I said. No, for mom and dad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call to order the regular city commission meeting for April 16th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Can we please have roll call?
Commissioner Hudak,
Here.
Commissioner Parnas,
Here.
Commissioner Preston,
Here.
Vice Mayor Drosky,
Here.
Mayor Gantz.
Here. Will you please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have approval of our city commission meeting minutes
Motion to approve. Second.
for the regular city commission meeting minute of April 2nd, 2024? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Acknowledgement of our city board meeting minutes for the community appearance board meeting of March 13th, 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hudak, second by Commissioner Parnas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval of our agenda tonight for April 16th, 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Approved by Commissioner Parnas, seconded by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk?
For those attending via Zoom online, wishing to speak under public comment or an item that's open for public input, please click raise hand at the bottom under the reactions tab, and your audio will be unmuted when you're recognized by Mayor Gantz. For those attending via Zoom by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand, and your audio will be unmuted when you are recognized by Mayor Gantz. Please make sure your audio is unmuted on your end by pressing *6. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a certificate of recognition for two outstanding students who participated in our City Deerfield Beaches Academic Scholarship Award. These awards were awarded to these two outstanding students. We'd like to honor them here tonight. Lavina Bouillon is a City of Deerfield Beach resident and attends Deerfield Beach High School. Ms. Bouillon has an unweighted GPA of 3.7. Ms. Bouillon is very active in her school in the Deerfield Beach community. She's the vice president of the National Honor Society, the Key Club member, the Math Club, the Mu Alpha Theta. She volunteers with Good Karma Pet Rescue and the City of Deerfield Beach Constitution Park and Arboretum. Ms. Bouillon will major in computer science, is looking forward to attending the University of Florida in the summer. We will, as a Knoll, will forgive her of that. Ms. Bouillon is the second place winner of the City Deerfield Beach Education Advisory Board High School Scholarship in the amount of $1,500. And the City of Deerfield Beach would like to say congratulations, Lavina, and good luck with your continued success in education. Thank you so much. Kenesha Etienne is a City Deerfield Beach resident and attends Deerfield Beach High School. Ms. Etienne has an unweighted GPA of 3.8. She's very active in her school in the Deerfield Beach community. She is the president of our Mentoring Tomorrow's Leaders, the Key Club, the Women of Tomorrow, Brace Cadet, volunteers at Boca Raton Regional Hospital, and is a piano and violin teacher. Ms. Etienne wants to be a surgeon, is looking forward to attending the University of Central Florida in the fall. She is the winner of the City of Deerfield Beach's Education Advisory Board High School Scholarship in the amount of $2,000. And the City of Deerfield Beach would like to say congratulations, Kenesha, and good luck with your continued success in education.
Thank you.
So we have quite a few here, but that's a good thing. We have certificates of recognition presented to the City of Deerfield Beach 23-24 Teacher of the Year and School-Related Employees of the Year. I'm going to go by each one of them, and at the end, we'll have everyone come up for a photo if they'd like. Michelle Markowitz, Quiet Waters Elementary, has been employed at Broward County Schools for 17 years. For the last 10 years, she's been at Quiet Waters Elementary School. She's a tremendous teacher with incredible skills, and her genuine love and passion for students is second to none. Ms. Markowitz, will you please stand for a moment? I'm going to have each of you stand as I say your name afterwards, so you deserve the applause. I want to make sure you get it as opposed to piling everybody up here and we're guessing who is who. Jarvis McCon from Quiet Waters Elementary has been employed by the Broward County Public Schools for 19 years. In the past 14 years has been at Quiet Waters Elementary School. Jarvis? Not here. Not here tonight? Not a problem. Sean McKeown from St. Ambrose Catholic School is a PE teacher. He's affectionately known as a very creative name as Coach, and is one of the most recognizable faces in school and his church community. Coach? Judy Squires from St. Ambrose Catholic School wears many hats, but is truly a jack of all trades. Ms. Squires is always the first to arrive on campus and the last to leave each day. Ms. Squires? Marcia Pasqualin from Park Ridge Elementary is a dedicated and hardworking literacy coach and is always willing to help, and no job is too big for her. Marcia? She still deserves a round of applause. Toinette Randall from Park Ridge Elementary welcomes our students and guests with a warm smile and positive energy. Miss Randall is always willing to help and goes above and beyond to support our families and our students and scholars. Ms. Randall? Cora Walls from Deerfield Beach High School has been employed with the Broward County Public Schools for 31.5 years. Mrs. Walls is a caring teacher, goes above and beyond for her students. Ms. Walls? Clearly, the child labor laws were not as strict when they first hired you. Ms. Unjana Patel from Deerfield Beach High School is employed with Broward County Schools for 3 years. She's responsible for registering of new students at Deerfield Beach High School. Ms. Patel? Deborah Rothberger from Deerfield Beach Elementary has been a teacher in Broward County Public Schools for 35 years and has only taught at Deerfield Beach Elementary School the entire 35 years. For the last 35 years, she's been the heart and soul of the school and teaching multiple grade levels. Ms. Rothberger? Alex Lassar from Deerfield Beach Elementary is the Swiss Army knife of Deerfield Beach Elementary and is always willing to go the extra mile, even if it means changing roles. Alex? Dana Edinburgh of Deerfield Park Elementary is a 4th grade teacher with over 20 years of experience. She is often the first teacher to arrive on campus. Dana? Perfect timing. Betty Cooper Hart, Deerfield Park Elementary, can be found throughout the day assisting in the cafeteria, providing interventions in the classroom, or running the school store. Ms. Cooper Hart? Not here? Not a problem. Tamika Miller from Tedder Elementary has been working in the Broward County Public School systems for 15 years. She is a Tedder Bear who is a team player and advocates for her students all the time. Ms. Miller? Maria Viali from Tedder Elementary has been working in Broward County Public Schools for over 10 years. She's a team player and goes above and beyond to help her students address personal crisis, who address issues that they have and give them the resources that they need to be successful. Ms. Viali? Brianna Mitchell Philpart from Deerfield Beach Middle consults with students to help them address personal crises and locates any mental health resources that they may need. Ms. Mitchell Philpart? Ricky Valdano Heron from Deerfield Beach Middle cares about each student he encounters and what goes above and beyond to ensure they are safe and emotionally and academically well off. Ricky? David Dunn has been working at Bright Horizon School for 12 years. He is a team player and a committed advocate for his students. Mr. Dunn? Mark Bartley has been working at Bright Horizon School for 17 years, and he's an amazing individual, is available to assist whenever and whoever needs as much help as they can get. Mr. Bartley? Not here? Not a problem. Maria Esch from Highlands Christian Academy was selected as the Teacher of the Year for exceptional dedication to her students and going above and beyond to ensure their academic and personal growth. Be here tonight. We would like to thank our community business partners and the nonprofit organizations who help support and give contributions to the City of Deerfield Beach Teachers of the Year, and our members of our school advisory board and our school-related employees of the year being celebrated tonight. JM Family, Ashbridge, DMA Contracting Incorporated of Deerfield Beach, Kiwanis Club of Deerfield Beach, Kiwanis Club, Deerfield Beach West, and Deerfield Beach Community Cares. Thank you to our partners and to all of you who have such a big influence on our community. Thank you so much and congratulations. We'd like to have you all up here for a photo.
Let's go with that. That's okay. I want this one. Right? You get going. Now you go. Yeah, I have to go. Home is more important tonight. There's nothing.
Oh, next door. You know, I wear my. I'm not saying. I know. Your name, it's like a great.
Item number 3 is a proclamation to honor our National Volunteer Week. National Volunteer Week is an opportunity to recognize the impact of volunteer service and empower volunteers to tackle society's greatest challenges, build stronger communities, and be a force that transforms the world. Each year, we shine a light on the people and causes that inspire us to serve, recognizing and thanking volunteers who lend their time, talent, and voice to make a difference in our community. Our city volunteers strengthen communities, improve social challenges, and enhance the overall quality of life for Deerfield Beach citizens. The service of our volunteers has provided a foundation for a safe and united community by dedicating countless hours to mentoring our youth, serving our elderly, and providing food and services to those in need. Now, therefore, I, Bill Gans, Mayor of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, in recognition thereof, do proclaim April 21st through the 27th as National Volunteer Week. Do we have someone to accept this? Jonathan Salas? He's in the masses. We will pass this down to Jonathan. Next, we're going to bring up Captain Hosteen of BSO, our fantastic Chief of Police.
Thank you, sir. I try. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, and citizens of Deerfield Beach. Always an honor to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, as you always grant me, to bring to your attention the great work that our staff does that often goes unsung behind the scenes. So for our April Employees of the Month, I'm very pleased to honor, first and foremost, our crime suppression team. They are noticeably absent tonight because, well, they're out suppressing crime, which they are. They work 24/7. Hardworking team, and also for reasons of confidentiality and their safety, I often cannot bring them out in the public light, but I don't want their great actions to go unsung, and I'm always proud to share their great work. And they target some of the most important issues that we deal with, especially this contemporary scourge of violent crime that unfortunately is sweeping our nation and a lot of our large metropolitan areas, and specifically here, our Tri-County area is not immune from it. But I'm very proud of the interdiction that they do to keep a lot of this out of Deerfield Beach. And send a very vital message to these criminals that this is not the place to go. I'm going to work in reverse order here. So for the month, actually this is year to date, since January 1st of 2024, our crime suppression team has investigated 13 Crime Stoppers complaints. And I start with that because that's very important. See something, say something. I thank the folks out there that take the time to provide the tips to law enforcement through Crime Stoppers, which is anonymous and it is award-based, I'm not afraid to mention, and we do investigate these tips, and they are often fruitful, as you hear in some of these numbers. So in addition to, a multitude of pills, 7 grams of Flocka, we remember the Flocka scourge, 333 grams of marijuana, 28 grams of crack cocaine, 4 grams of cocaine, 7 stolen vehicles recovered, a total of 74 arrests from the streets of Deerfield, 18 misdemeanor arrests, and 56 felony arrests. And mind you that a multitude of these arrests were very, very hardened, documented gang members and violent criminals, several of which were active homicide suspects for cases that recently occurred in the Pompano Beach area. But most importantly, what I like to highlight, 12 firearms taken off of our streets. And we can never emphasize the importance of that greatly enough, of seizing firearms, taking them off our streets. And always my plea to the public, please do not leave firearms unsecured in vehicles. This is a big problem that we're dealing with. And the multitude of burglaries of vehicles are targeting and looking for firearms. So that's an important message to convey. So for that, I'm again very pleased and honored to recognize the hard work of our crime suppression team. Now on to some more exciting stuff. If Deputy Calvin Hops will join us, and Deputy Christopher Manikas, if you can come on down, gentlemen. So these two gentlemen, I'm very proud to provide a special recognition for. On April 1st, 2024, we received a call at Marine One, which if you're familiar with is just off of North Federal Highway, just north of Hillsborough. And there was a report of an individual who's acting oddly. And in the process of acting oddly and making very strange utterances, he actually jumped into the Intracoastal Waterway. And this was brought to the attention of our deputies, who all responded in a coordinated manner. And it was obvious that this individual had intentionally put himself in the water and was not going to come out of the water. And obviously this posed a great danger to him, posed a danger to boaters, et cetera. And these deputies, a multitude of, took immediate action to secure the area, coordinate a scene, and also we requested our Marine Patrol to respond. We are very fortunate to have a Marine Patrol asset assigned to Deerfield, but it takes a little time to get that boat here. And this individual was, well, dare I say, frolicking in the water, but moving out into deeper water, into more dangerous areas. And he started making statements, I quote, "The Russian mafia spies are trying to kill me, and I've been smoking meth." So obviously, in addition to possibly being under the influence of dangerous narcotics, he obviously was in a state of mental crisis. And this posed obviously two challenges. We needed to obviously rescue this individual rather quickly before he could be of harm to himself, but how do we do so in a safe manner? So in the time that it took to coordinate all these responses, our deputies realized that immediate action was necessary. These two deputies recognizing this, without waiting for the proper equipment, without waiting for the Marine Patrol experts who have the dive gear and the equipment to make a waterborne rescue, recognizing the timeliness of the situation, stripped their gear and entered the water on their own. Obviously, I don't have to tell you how dangerous it is just jumping into the Intracoastal in and of itself, let alone when you're trying to corral and save a person that's in mental crisis, who not only could drown himself, but he could drown you. But these deputies did exactly that, and I have the pictures to prove it, by the way. Not only did they do this, they spent an inordinate amount of time in the water pursuing this individual at great peril to their own safety, obviously. And ultimately, I'm happy to say we're successful in retrieving him safely from the water and getting him the mental health crisis intervention that he needed. I need not tell you that this is a problem we deal with often. To emphasize the scope of the issue, this is no exaggeration. In the time that we came here tonight to this commission meeting, you talk about coincidence, this very same individual is back in the water again tonight, and deputies are out there. And he was once again safely retrieved, this time by our Marine Patrol unit. I have the supervisor here. Thank you, gentlemen. But it highlights the problem that we deal with. Even after taking him to get the intervention and crisis help he needed, he's back at it again. But our staff will never fail to take the actions necessary to intervene and save a life. So thank you for the opportunity again to recognize them, and I'd like to applaud them for their heroism in great danger and to themselves and performing this waterborne rescue. Present them with this special certificate.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to say that in situations like this, it's much more than giving a couple guys a certificate. Having Chief Hofstein come up and give us the foundation of what happened. It's much greater than that. There's no greater love than when one human being puts their life in danger for another. And we all need to remember that, because without their efforts, things could be so much worse in our communities. And I'm just so I'm glad that the outcome was good, but oftentimes the only way that they're celebrated for the good that they do is in situations like this, where we acknowledge it, give them a certificate, shake their hand. I just would want all of you to know it's much more serious than that. These people, all of the ones that you see over there, at any given time can put their life in danger, and it doesn't always work out. They don't always get to go home. It's much greater than a certificate. What we need to do is acknowledge the greatness of what they do and not forget that. And any chance that we have to applaud them, whether it be in equipment, whether it be with salaries or whatever, we need to acknowledge that this is a little bit different situation than the normal situations that we see that entails people going to work and doing whatever their job is, their job description. This is much greater. For what they did, we're all better off. We're all better off. So I applaud you, every one of you, because I know what you go through. I did life safety work, and at any given moment, you're called to do that, and you don't have a chance to say yes or no. The fact that you're in uniform means that you always have to say yes, and we appreciate what you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a presentation regarding greenhouse gas inventory and sustainable roadmap.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. My name is Hillary Silverstone, and I'm the Sustainability Coordinator here with the City of Deerfield Beach. Tonight, I'm excited to talk to you about our sustainability program. Surprise, surprise. Maybe. Is it on? Oh, There we go. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go over a little bit about our existing sustainability program, and then I'm going to pass it over to our consultant who's going to talk to you about our municipal greenhouse gas inventory that was recently completed, as well as a sustainability roadmap that we are in the process of developing. And then finally, I'll talk to you a little bit about our public input session that we've got coming up and some next steps. So in 2015, we developed the Department of Sustainable Management here in the City of Deerfield Beach. Since then, and even before that, we've been working on a wide range of projects that have helped us move the needle here in the city. So in no particular order, we've been working on things like waste reduction, most recently through our DFB compost program. We've worked on energy efficiency through many facility updates, building automation, lighting retrofits, as well as some water plant updates and things like that, AC. We've also implemented a CNG fleet program with our solid waste vehicles. We've installed a CNG fueling station on property to increase our efficiency. We've been working on some complete streets programs to try to promote alternative forms of transportation in the city. Even our new rideshare program brings some electric vehicles into the city, which is exciting. And we've installed solar on Fire Station 102. And finally, well, not finally, there's a lot of different projects we've done, but to wrap up this slide, we've also installed the DFB apiary, which is still live and buzzing over at CCC. And we've also done some beach and dune management planning that I think you'll be hearing about some more next week. So while we've done all of these different things, which is wonderful, and we've really done a lot of great things in the city that I think we can all be proud of, we really wanted to take these projects and see how we're doing, because up until now, we really haven't had a way to measure the benefits of these projects other than looking at finances, which obviously are important, but how are we doing environmentally? So we wanted to see how we're doing and then try to create a path for moving forward. What should we do next? Obviously, we're doing a lot of different things, but strategically and environmentally, what's the best for the city? And so that's where our consultant comes in. So we brought in our consultant, Aptum, to help us create or conduct two years worth of greenhouse gas inventories, which helps to see how we're doing. And then to also help us develop a sustainability roadmap to help us vision where we're going and what our next steps are in a way that we can implement. We're not looking to create a plan that we put on the shelf that just sits there and collects dust. We tasked Aptum with creating steps for us to take to move forward and really help us to create a more green and sustainable community. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Samantha Danchuk with Aptum. Samantha is the consultant that's been working with us to help to create this path through our greenhouse gas inventory and now the roadmap.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this evening. I am Dr. Samantha Danchuk. I'm Aptum's Climate and Coastal Resilience Lead. You may remember me from staff at Broward County, serving the Resilience Environment Department there. So tonight, just wanted to give you a very high-level overview of the greenhouse gas inventory. So this is just looking at municipal operations, so everything that you're making decisions about this evening. In 2022, there were about 22,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emitted from the city. And that is hard to imagine, right? So if we filled this room, this would hold maybe about 5 tons of carbon dioxide, that volume. It's comparable to about how much about 12,000 Americans emit every year. It's comparable about 5,000 cars. And it's comparable to what the city of Delray Beach is actually emitting as well. It's only about 3% of how much the city in total is emitting when you think about all the residents and the businesses and everything. So a very, very small piece of the pie, but it is incredibly useful when you want to look at where to be efficient, right? And where could you focus resources in order to try and reduce greenhouse gas emissions? So over half of the emissions come from managing waste and transporting waste. About a third are coming from your buildings and electricity usage. And then about 13% is coming from vehicle use, and in particular, heavy duty vehicles. So this is useful to compare 2 years because it shows us how things are changing over time. And the intent is that you would keep doing this maybe every 5 years and you'd have an idea of how operations are changing in the city. It's one more really useful data point in addition to looking at like finances, right, as Hillary mentioned. So since 2017, comparing it to 2022, emissions have actually decreased. So that's a wonderful thing. You're becoming more efficient. This is in response to many of the investments that you've made, but it's also in response to things that are changing at the regional level. So looking at the electrical utility, they have changed what types of fossil fuels that they're using. They're shifting to more efficient fossil fuels. And so that is resulting in somewhat of this decrease. Also, this work helped us identify what are the really large energy users. So if you wanted to look at where can you make things more efficient, we found that it would be useful to look at the water treatment plant, at streetlights, which there's an incredible program coming forward to make streetlights more efficient that's coming through your city. The fire station, the drinking water wells actually use quite a bit of energy, pumping that water up from the ground. And of course, City Hall and your other buildings. So we were able to rank that and provide that to Hillary so that she can help design her efficiency programs around that. We also looked at the fleet. So the emissions from vehicles used by city staff actually decreased as well, a small amount over that 5-year period. We did find that most of the emissions is coming from heavy duty trucks, right? So there is an opportunity to electrify kind of, basic vehicles and vehicles that our staff are using, but still there's going to be a lot of emissions that are coming from, construction vehicles, solid waste trucks, things like that. But we were able to, again, give her a guide of who to talk to and what folks within your operation are using the most fuel. And then, of course, we looked at waste, right? That was more than half of your emissions contributions, and that was increasing. And this is in response to more consumption and the volume of waste increasing. So why is this important? As I've said a couple times, this really can be your guide, right? Now that you've got 2 data points, you can look into the future, see how operations are changing, look for where you're doing really well and what the strengths are, and how you're able to optimize operations, but then also look for areas that could be improved and align those with your goals for the city that are already in existing plans and policies. And so this brings me to the sustainability roadmap. So this is really the first time that you've got a very clear document to align with all of the city's plans and policies that mention sustainability, both in the 2022 comprehensive plan as well as the 2023 strategic plan. So I don't know if everybody in the room knows, but there's over 30 policies that already reference sustainability and action in trying to make Deerfield Beach a more sustainable and resilient community. And so this plan is intended to align with that, as well as the goals and objectives and the actions in the Broward County Climate Action Plan, as well as the Southeast Florida Regional Climate Change Compact's Climate Action Plan. We have customized all these actions for Deerfield. We looked nationwide as well as region-wide for best practices, but really wanted to make sure that it was a very practical plan and had a list of implementation steps for immediate action that could be implemented over the next 5 years. And so this roadmap includes 15 strategies that cover the categories of engaging the community, trying to reduce or use alternative fuels, looking for opportunities to make electricity usage more efficient, or again, use alternative sources, and then of course, ways to reduce waste. And all of these, although our sustainability objectives really align well with trying to optimize operations here in the city. We informed this plan by direct engagement with your staff. We presented both to the directors as well as to staff in all different agencies. They helped us identify specific actions that should be included in projects. They really encouraged Hillary to further, make sure that everybody is accountable to implementing the policies that are already in the on the books and in the plans. Look for sustainability champions within each department to kind of help carry this plan forward. The directors really were keen on making sure that the actions made sense and that they really emphasized the return on investment, right? So not just something that was nice to have, but is there a real benefit to the action being implemented? And so Hillary's going to share just a couple more steps, but thank you for your time this evening.
So what are our next steps with this? Like I had mentioned before, we are still currently in the development portion for the roadmap. We're just about done, but we do have one last step. We're doing a public input session in 2 weeks on April 30th. And essentially this is just, even though the plan that we're working on putting together is municipal operations focused, we've always followed the mantra that, we're trying to lead by example in the city of Deerfield Beach. So a lot of the projects that we do, we're hoping to inspire our residents and kind of help to guide our residents and businesses in more sustainable behaviors. And so obviously with that, we need the input, the public's help in trying to create those strategies that really make the most sense to our residents and businesses. And so we're having this input session on the 30th to try to just gather more information and see where the public wants to see us go with it. Because if the public isn't in support of some of these actions, then it's not going to be something we can implement. We are expecting to have a final draft or a final document of the roadmap sometime in May. And then we are hoping to come back to you with that document, with a presentation, probably later on this summer, to just show you what our next steps are and show you how the operating budget that we've put together will be implemented to further these actions next year and the next 5 years. Obviously, we're going to be continuing with the implementation of the projects we have existing, and then hopefully with the projects that we've put together through the roadmap. And then we can't manage it if we don't measure it. So, we will be completing annual progress reports to see how we're going. And then like Sam mentioned, we're looking to do another greenhouse gas inventory probably in about 5 years, just to see how we're doing. And, you know, she mentioned it's exciting that we've reduced our emissions just over the last 5 years or so. And I think it's a testament to the projects that we've done to show that they really have made an impact, that, you know, moving to more efficient facilities and reducing our electricity usage has really helped. Moving to our compressed natural gas vehicles really has helped. You know, so now we're looking at where else we can make improvements to help to make a greener city. And with that, we will take any questions.
Commissioner Preston?
Thank you, Mayor. I have two questions. One of the headings, it said energy efficiency, and it said water plant efficiency upgrades. Could you give me some examples of that?
Yeah, so we did some upgrades in relation to the HVAC, the AC systems there, which was a key one. You know, a lot of the water plant operates on a 24/7 schedule, but not, you know, places like our main building and things like that. So we were able to adjust the schedules of those buildings to reduce the electricity usage. The water plant's also done a lot of work with variable frequency drives, and a few other things that I don't know the proper terminology for, but I'm sure environmental services director could answer for you. But, you know, just it's the water plant is a really energy intensive operation because of what it does, you know, and it's something that can't shut down. But, you know, you do what you can in the places where it makes sense so that we have a little bit less energy usage in those places where you can.
So there's less energy.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
And so my second question is this. I think the presentation I found to be very informative, and I think it's headed in the right direction. But if I were a resident and just ask you directly, why should I be concerned about this, and how does this affect my everyday life? What would you tell me?
Most of us have kids. And we want you know, clean and healthy city of Deerfield Beach to be here for them as they grow up. And I know that's something that I'm looking for. You know, I think we all go down to the beach and we see litter on the beach and you know, things that, you know, we're not happy with. And doing projects like these, you know, obviously the beach cleanups and things like that are small projects, small, low scale, but it's things like that that help to chip away you know, at our negative environmental impact. Obviously, we can't stop development. We can't stop growth. But if we do it in a smart way, it's going to make sure that the city of Deerfield Beach is here for years and years and years to come, and in a clean and healthy way.
Thank you. To reiterate, I found this to be very interesting, and anytime we can get a healthier, cleaner environment for our residents, we ought to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hudak?
Just a quick question, 22.3 tons of CO2 emissions, is that per week, per month, per year?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I just.
Thank you. Commissioner Drosky, excuse me, Vice Mayor Drosky.
Just glad it wasn't per day. Hillary, you listed at the beginning of your presentation, I tried to get as many as I could of the, you know, the projects that you were doing. And I don't know if the Siemens was specifically listed under there or not, but shouldn't we be realizing the benefits of all those projects as well? You know, those as we go forward should, unless you have it, you know, broken out in like the different segments in there. But we should be realizing those savings as well as we go forward, especially with the CNG, that we're only tipping, you know, the iceberg on that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is definitely encompassed in here. So we selected the years 2017 and 2022 with the thought that 2017 is before we started that project, and 2022 was essentially when the project was mostly complete. And it's, you know, it's some terms that we don't necessarily like to use here, but it absolutely is encompassed in this list with the energy efficiency, the CNG fueling station, the solar on Fire Station 102. And essentially what that is using using unique tools to get things done. Efficient tools, unique financing to make things happen. And that's part of what we're looking at with the roadmap, is not necessarily looking at making huge monumental investments every year. We're looking at what's available in terms of grants, what can we align with that the county and the region are doing that, maybe if we partner with folks that are around us, can we make these things happen at, low or maybe no cost, that still have a really great impact and can help us to further these numbers in terms of decreasing for, the 2027 review.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, item number 6 on the agenda is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 66, Traffic and Vehicles, Section 66-88, Parking Restrictions for Cove Parking Lot Penalty of the City Code of Ordinances to expand the existing 2-hour continuous parking restriction for the Cove Shopping Center parking lot to include Sundays, providing for conflicts, severability codification, and an effective date. This is second reading.
City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Dave Santucci, City Manager. This is a second reading, as the City Attorney had mentioned, and this item is related to the Cove Shopping Center, extending the 2-hour continuous parking limits to extend through Sunday. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
So that is the only change to what exists now, is just making that Sunday is included as opposed to excluded?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item?
Good evening, everyone. Dan Hers, 330 Southeast 19th Avenue. When the CRA was established in 1999, one of its guiding principles was as follows: traffic and parking. Solve the traffic circulation and parking problems on the beach and in the Cove Shopping Center as soon as possible for all Deerfield residents. However, ensure that greater parking opportunities don't ruin the unique village character. The CRA disappears in 2029, so being the optimist that I am, that still leaves 5 more years to fix the problem. The Economic Development and CRA Department claims it contacted the Cove merchants to see how they felt about instituting the 2-hour parking limitation and extending it to Sundays. I spoke to 4 merchants in the Cove. They all told me no one from the Economic Development or CRA departments had contacted them to get their opinion. So how were the remaining 33 merchants contacted? Was it by phone? Was it in person? Or was it by email? In the name of transparency, the Economic Development and CRA director should be forced to answer this question. The 4 merchants I spoke to also don't believe the new 2-hour restrictions will make any positive difference whatsoever. The reason is because approximately half of the parking spots will not be subject to the 2-hour limitation. It is clear to me what the objective of the Economic Development and CRA department is. They would rather cater to and
Mr. Hers, can you please comment on whether you approve on Sunday or not?
I'm getting to it, Mayor.
Then get to it faster.
What is so puzzling is the ease in which a solution to the Cove parking problem could be implemented. Simply give the merchants these cute plastic numbered parking identifiers that could hang from rear view mirrors. One could say employees.
Mr. Hers, do you approve of Sunday or not?
I'm getting to it, Mayor.
Okay.
One could say employees and the others could say patrons. This way, the whole Cove parking lot would be subject to the 2-hour time limitation, and all the beach parking freeloaders and island restaurant employee parking freeloaders would be forced to seek alternative parking arrangements. If someone could explain to me the economic benefit that all these freeloaders provide, I am definitely willing to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Still didn't get to the point.
Roger Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street, Deerfield Beach, Florida. Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor, City Manager, and Attorney. With regards to this ordinance, I think it's a great idea. I was just wondering if the city would consider making the entire parking lot pay by spot, just like they do at Brightline Pompano, Fort Lauderdale, since we're always considered to those, compared to those places. So my question is in the future, maybe in the near future, maybe we could number every single parking spot in the entire Cove Shopping Plaza and have people pay by plate, just like they do everywhere else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Freitag?
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast Second Street. I don't think my husband understands that they don't actually pay. The 2-hour parking is only on the perimeter, the complete perimeter of the parking lot. It has nothing to do with the spots on the inside where the bicyclists park to ride their bikes and train on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't know that I agree with putting it on Sundays, but I don't know that that is going to be the end all of the solution. That's not going to be the solution that we need moving forward. Yes, the 2-hour does prevent people. I mean, sometimes as Commissioner Parnas says, he goes to Patricia's for dinner, you might not be done in 2 hours. If it's an hour and a half wait to get a table in season, you're not going to be done with your dinner in 2 hours to go out and move your car again after you already took 20 to 30 minutes just to find a parking space. So I think there's going to be some need to modify this, the hours that it's in place. And yes, put it on Sundays. That's nothing that it's not doing. Adding Sundays is the only thing that isn't on the sign right now. It's 2 hours from, I believe, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at this point in time. I can't remember exactly, but I think adding Sundays, that's going to do something, but I don't think it's going to do everything in the very long term. We do need to come up with a different solution in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it to the public then. Anyone else? Close it to the public. Are you going to speak? Yes, ma'am. Wait till you get to the mic.
Good evening. Lucia Del Genio, 707 North Shore Drive. I believe the real parking issue here is the unlimited time allowed in the center spots in this 2-hour parking enforcement on only half of the space at the Cove Shopping Center. It does nothing to eliminate the true problem of people who park in the Cove Shopping Center and then head to the beach. And I am in favor of the Sunday
You are.
continuation.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. I'm going to close it to the public then. Okay. Commissioner Parnas?
Motion to approve.
Well, hold on. Let's have a discussion here first, just to make sure, verify. But we have a motion. I appreciate that. Anyone else? Any other comments? Vice Mayor?
I think the residents are spot on. We need to do something else with respect to the parking in the Cove. The problem is we can't do anything with the interior spaces for another year. Our hands are tied. So we can only deal with the perimeter spaces for the time being. So I think extending the 2-hour restriction to Sundays is more than reasonable. I mean, I was actually in favor of extending the time frame. Was it go till 6 now? 5 or 6 to make it longer, to get more benefit to the businesses, but that didn't get any traction. So whatever we can do, I'm in favor of. We're very limited what we can do now, but this is a start in the right direction.
Thank you. Reality is, no, this is a small Band-Aid on a bigger problem, without a doubt. But it's a common sense thing that needs to be cleaned up because we don't have it on Sundays and we need to. And this is for those lots that are just around the immediate businesses right in the front. And we know that there's a bigger problem there. We also know that our hands are tied based on an agreement that was done that ends in a few years for it to be evaluated. You're going to find that this is the only parking lot, municipally owned parking lot anywhere near the intercoastal that you're going to find that is free in the tri-state county, in the tri-county area, not tri-state, tri-county area. You're not going to find it. We used to have them, but they don't exist anymore. This is the last of it. But this doesn't address the bigger problem. And there are other plans, and we need to continue to work towards that. As far as forcing a female employee to answer a question, I have no idea what someone's thinking to make a comment like that, but I'm not forcing anyone to do anything except maybe follow the rules. So I think we've kind of done what we can so far, but there's a lot more that we can do. So we certainly hear you, and we know that there's a bigger problem there, but this is just a common sense approach and really is a loophole that we have that we want to close. So we have a motion from Commissioner Parnas.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Hudak. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Drosky,
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes.
Okay, we're now at the public comment portion of tonight's meeting. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes unless extended for 1 additional minute by the mayor. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda. The time for public comment on an item that is on tonight's agenda is after I read the title into the record, and the public comment period for that item is open. No comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibility shall be permitted.
Your Honor, Commissioners, gentlemen,
Name and address for the record, please.
Maureen Kenny, don't you know it by heart? 615 Southeast 7th Avenue, Deerfield Beach, 7th Avenue and 7th Street. I'm here to really recognize my neighbor and my friend Sandy, and I'm going to let him do the speaking because you know me.
So your time's up. Okay. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name's Sandy Koyman, 602 Southeast 8th Avenue. And I'd like to share with you some thoughts on the Southeast 8th Avenue Drainage Improvement Project. I attended the April 8th public meeting on the project after having attended the prior meeting some time ago. I can't quite remember how long ago it was. And I was a bit surprised that Monday night to find that the design for the project was completely set, and that we were there to learn about the construction that's going to start yesterday, and that the project was going to undertake several parts. One part would be an exfiltration pipe throughout the project area, which I think is a great idea. It's going to be a real asset to improving the stormwater management. But then my ears that have been tuned by several decades of environmental and urban design planning in coastal and resort areas really perked up when I heard that our immediate neighborhood was going to be denuded of street trees to improve the stormwater management in the area. And throughout the decades of my work, we always planted trees to improve stormwater management, not took them out. So I took it upon myself. I spoke with Maureen, found out she was the instigator of getting the trees originally placed as a joint project between the city and the homeowners, which was paid for both by the city and partially by the homeowners to get the trees installed. I prepared a petition, which I'm prepared to give you the first bit of that I was able to collect in the short period between last Monday and now. And had an opportunity to meet a lot of my neighbors that I hadn't met before, and we discussed the nature of the project and the removal of the trees. And I heard very loud and clear from my neighbors that they want to keep their trees and they want to keep them where they are. And I understand there's a public meeting scheduled for the 23rd of this month, and I greatly appreciate that, Mayor and Mike, for seeing that to happen. We're very, very happy to see that. But I guess I had a conversation yesterday with the city engineer, and I asked him, was there an engineering analysis of the stormwater benefit from creating the swales that are going to cause the trees to be removed? And he wasn't able to provide such an analysis to me. And he indicated to me that what he expected for the benefit from the swales was going to be very small. Now, street trees are very important to the quality of our neighborhood. They really create a great first impression. And the Urban Land Institute has done many studies that talk about landscaping and its relationship to property values and just the quality of life and the nature of our neighborhood. Very concerned that if those trees are gone, the quality of our neighborhood's really going to decline. And it seems to me like we really need to take a hard look at what potential benefit we could get from the swales versus the known benefit that we have from these street trees that really make our neighborhood beautiful. So I'm going to transmit the petition, which has over 40 signatures, which represent 37 of the 82 homes in the project area, which represents just about a majority of the owner-occupied homes in that neighborhood. And more signatures and contacts are going to be forthcoming. I have a cover letter which gets into more detail about the value of the trees and how we came to the conclusion. Our preferred approach would be go ahead, put in swales, put them in where the trees aren't, and let's look at it. If we have a problem after 5 years with stormwater, with what we've done with piping and the partial swale project, then let's see what our options are at that time. But to go in now and denude the neighborhood of street trees, I think would be an absolute tragedy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. You can give it to the city clerk if you'd like.
Roger Freitag, 418 Southeast Second Street, Deerfield Beach, Florida. I have a few questions for our city management. Would we consider drones to music versus fireworks for the upcoming demonstrations of celebration for Pioneer Days, July 4th, since our pier is going to be being worked on? I'm not sure if they plan to do the fireworks with a drone. I mean, with a what do they call it? A big boat there where they put it out and shoot it off their barge, sorry. And so I thought maybe drones to music might be an alternative for the city to look at. The second question is how is it possible that a notice of violation is given for an inspection that is for tomorrow? I have the permit number, which is 2436460-0. Today, we received a notice of violation for not being on site for an inspection that is actually scheduled for tomorrow. And I'm trying to figure out how that works. Maybe somebody from the city could give me a call at some point in time. My number is 954-636-9403. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Lubin, 16 Little Harbor Way, Deerfield Beach. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, as a member of the Educational Advisory Board, I would like to thank the Mayor and Commission for funding the academic scholarships for the students of the city of Deerfield Beach. It's very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
William DiCarlo, 1460 Southwest 11th Way, Deerfield Beach. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commission, City of Deerfield Beach residents. I stand before you today with a sense of purpose and resolve. I'm here to address a matter that not only affects the livelihood of Deerfield Beach Cafe, but it also touches upon the integrity and the vibrancy of our actual city. It's recently come to my attention that there have been remarks made by a city employee, basically in regards to the condition of our store. These comments, they've unfortunately reached the ears of esteemed colleagues and patrons of ours, which is a big issue for us. I have to say with conviction, these claims, they're unfounded. They do not reflect what we do in the store. And we're steadfast in our commitment to make a pristine and and welcoming environment for those who come in. Any statements to the contrary, they misrepresent our restaurant, but also undermines the trust and the work that we've tried so hard to build with the city of Deerfield Beach and the citizens of Deerfield Beach. There's even a bigger issue at this point, and I have to say, maybe it's a little hearsay, but there's an issue that further compounds our concern. And it's ironic that we spoke about sustainability tonight. As a business, we value the ecological responsibility. We've continually taken the initiative to shred our cardboard waste. Unfortunately, it seems the city has not matched our efforts to this point. It's our understanding that a large portion of the waste was not composted and it was simply brought to the dump. The irony to this cleanliness issue is that we've been maintaining the store on our own at this point. Obviously, everyone understands what's happening right now, but we haven't had the opportunity to get help from the city. We change our own air conditioning filters. I was denied access to the roof. I could not clean our hood system correctly, which is a fire hazard. It's not our building. It's the city's building. So we're asking for your help to work with us to take care of, to my opinion, is the best spot in Deerfield. You know, so look, I stand before you today, not in confrontation, but in the spirit of collaboration. Okay. My hope is having clarity and support after today to bridge communication gaps and ensure that our shared goals for the community are met. We hope that the city recognizes the dedication of the Deerfield Beach Cafe and Mrs. Amana for the last 10.5 years. And I'm confident with your guidance and the council's support that we can turn this moment of misunderstanding into
Would you
the
like another
opportunity
minute?
for growth. I'm sorry. The opportunity for growth and a renewed partnership for all of us. So I thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
To La Mana, 5030 Southwest, 109th Avenue, Davie. Thank you, Bill. That was intense. You heard from the manager of Deerfield Beach who's been grinding the garbage. So the poor guy has been criticized for a few things. That was an awesome speech. Mayor and commissioners and city manager and city attorney. We know what this case about the Deerfield Beach Cafe is really about. It's a process that we have found out now that it was not followed due process and corrupt and was awarded to Danielle Rossi. So by now there's everybody in Deerfield Beach, the residents and all that know what transpired because there's simply no denying but the parties involved. When I first came before you, that was not the case. I didn't really know as much as I know today. I just simply asked to re-examine the due process on behalf of Lumos Sakos, as you know. So we know now that the purchasing manager, Mr. Bogdana Vasilo, was terminated, and also that Danielle Rossi never denied that a violation of the cone of silence has in fact occurred. And she was given information be allowed to be present on other people's presentation when none other person was privy to that. At that commission meeting, it was Commissioner Preston who challenged me and said, give us proof, give us due process violation. Don't just come here and tell us allegations. So at this time, I do have proof. We're moving forward to federal court. Everybody's watching us. The whole Broward County in essence is watching us. But what I'd like to know for the commissioners, because I never believed that this was involved, I thought it was circumstantial at the time, is since everybody knows what transpired and what went wrong in the due process, why don't you on the days investigate further the process instead of all of us going before what is now a federal court case, a big one? There's corruption, there's civil rights violations. It's getting bigger and bigger. And I am putting my reputation at stake, my money, everything I have, everything I own, everything. But you guys are putting taxpayers' money behind this to fight this case. And I don't think it's right for the taxpayers. I think that you need to look into it. You need to put time into setting yourselves apart and looking at this proofs now, because now we're talking about proofs. Bogdan was terminated. Other employees resigned thinking that they will be implicated in the case, and they actually got another job. And we have names thrown constantly around us. One more minute and I'm done. Thank you. So I'm simply asking you to step by because now I have other names that I really don't want to involve, like Chris Morey, David Santucci, who actually wrote the lease long time ago, Eric Powers. So all these people now, their names are mentioned and it's not right. Again, I'm asking you to please don't go into the massive problems that occurred 11 years ago that put Deerfield Beach on the map for corruption again. If there's something violated, please, I'm asking you to look further into it, because now we're starting to become hot news for Broward County. Just do the right thing. That's all I'm asking you. I am doing the right thing. I just want you to step up and also do the right thing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Daniel Shinetsky, 34 Keswick B, Deerfield Beach, Florida. I've been out in the community a little bit, especially by the Military Trail corridor between Southwest 10th Street and Green Road. A lot of communities there, a lot of housing, private houses. There's a plot of land right adjacent, right next to the Lady of Mercy Catholic Church at 5201 Military Trail in Deerfield Beach. Been a lot of rumors going around of what will happen to that land. It's beautiful. When you ride by, it looks like a soccer field or a football field, but it's laying there barren. Just want to put to rest any rumors. Is there any planned sale of that land? Anything coming up? Any rumored businesses coming up so that I could address it right now? Just was wondering. 5201 Military Trail, Deerfield Beach, right adjacent to Lady of Mercy Catholic Church in Deerfield Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone online? Oh, Mr. Hurst is gone. I'll go wait for Mr. Hurst.
Dan Hers, 330 Southeast 19th Avenue. In a recent conversation I had with Heather Delvey, it was mentioned that I hardly find anything worth praising the city on. So I wanted to publicly thank Commissioner Michael Hudak for his choice of inducting Amy K. Tanner into the Women's History Hall of Fame on March 30th. Besides being the city's unofficial historian, Amy cared deeply about how the city was being run. It was always a special privilege for me to drive her home after a late-night commission meeting. Well done, Commissioner Hudak. The handout you have in front of you just happened last week. The Miami City Attorney was just removed from her position. Let this be a precautionary tale for our city attorney. This comes on the heels of our mayor's statement at the March 5th City Commission meeting, when I had the gall to suggest that the city's legal representation contract should be put out for bid once every 20 years. Quoting the mayor, "It shows a complete lack of understanding of the importance of institutional knowledge, relationships, and trust." Good thing Ms. Mendez wasn't the Deerfield Beach City Attorney, where her corruption would have been completely overlooked for the sake of institutional knowledge. It's really getting old and repetitive that the city manager keeps ignoring the instructions of the commissioners, who are supposedly his bosses. How many times has a city manager been told not to use piggyback contracts unless they are absolutely necessary? The most recent example of his disregard was his bringing in Freebie on a piggyback contract. You saw just last meeting the harm that it caused. Local Deerfield Beach businesses were waiting for the RFP to come out, naively thinking that they would have a chance to bid on the lucrative contract. The city manager recently stated that Marty Care's office was now fully aware of the size and valuation mistake on the recently purchased beach parcel. What the city manager failed to mention was that it was I who alerted the property appraiser's office to the problem way back in January, and I have the email chain to prove it, along with Care's office's email to our city attorney. So please, Mr. City Manager, I beg you, next time there's a mistake on a real estate parcel in Deerfield Beach, notify the property appraiser's office right away. I will now give the city manager a chance to redeem himself for the lost ad valorem revenue caused by not letting the property appraiser's office know about the mistake in the purchase of the beach lot. There is a parcel at 735 Southeast 20th Avenue, which is A1A, that is underassessed by at least $2 million. Why don't you investigate? Then alert Marty Care's office. May I have another 30 seconds? Alert Marty Care's office, and you will become a hero. I look forward to your updates to the commissioners and taxpayers on this parcel's valuation fate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We'll give Ms. Freitag.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Councilman and Commissioners. It's my Felipe Koski from 1444 Southwest 47th Avenue. It's my first time in this house, so forgive me. I'm here because I've been getting a lot of, I guess, being bombarded with publications on Facebook of the asphalt plant at 1200 on Powerline, South Powerline. I moved here just when my daughter was 1 year old. There has always been an asphalt plant there. I live pretty much across the bay from it. We never smelled asphalt or tar or anything like that. Matter of fact, what I do remember is all the trucks coming in and out, and a lot of dust, right? From my understanding, the new construction is going to be asphalt, and so that puts to rest the whole dust situation. Other than that, there's I don't know why people are going so nuts about it. We need asphalt. I'm a realtor. I like driving on nice paved roads. I think it would, in a sense, will be an asset to the city to have an asphalt plant nearby instead of whenever we have to fix our roads, have to import from different cities, and would probably end up costing more money to the city for repairs and all of that. So I just wanted to put that to rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Freitag online?
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street, Deerfield Beach, Florida, 33441. I have a couple of different things to bring in front of the commission this evening. A couple of questions. I know a few months ago, we had a discussion regarding Airbnbs and the regulation of those units, all of those homes, all of those condos, everything, apartments, everything around us. And we had asked that there be a list of registered Airbnbs available somewhere on our city's website. I have not seen anything as of yet. I haven't seen anything come to fruition in that regard. It would behoove the residents to be able to go to the city's website and note if there is an Airbnb around them, as opposed to trying to contact the business licensing office and have them respond, have them take time out of their day to look it up and see if the particular address is registered. It would at least help the residents monitor these Airbnbs and make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing in the way of city ordinances and things, noise, etc. My second thing is regarding the street renaming. I want to just make sure that when we are doing renaming a street after someone, that it includes their commitment to and dedication to our city. I don't want to have streets named after people just because they died here or they lived for a little while here. It should definitely include their commitment and dedication to our city. What have they done in our city to be awarded such a pristine honor? Next, we have this ULI visualizing density workshop coming up tomorrow. It's something that I am very piqued about, excited about, or I was, because it's something kind of along the lines of what I've been asking. The question is, what vision do the members of the diocese see for DFB? And this is a perfect opportunity for us to review some of those, some of that vision, that visualizing density. Problem I have is they just announced not even 8 days ago that this workshop was going to be tomorrow night. if you want people to come to a workshop where you're going to be discussing such an important topic, more than 8 days notice would definitely be recommended. I understand the city has a lot of different functions going on, sip and stroll, Earth Day events, but we still, with something this important, needs to be announced more than just 8 days in advance. People might have been able to make adjustments, change, their schedules around, just not nearly enough time. And it's not something that's going to be.
You like another minute, Ms. Freitag?
Yes, please, if you don't mind. It's not something that I would imagine is going to be recorded, and I don't know, maybe the city can at least provide the names and contacts of the people that are putting on this particular workshop so that we could have individual conversations with them to get our own questions answered. And so that's my request to the city, is if they could provide that information, that would be great. Last but not least, I do want to thank the city for allowing me to be the MC, not the what did you call me, Michael? The maitre d', the MC of the event for the History Hall of Fame. It was an incredible event. Well done to the city, well done to staff, and great job on selecting 5 incredible women to be honored. It is truly a great event that.
Thank
I'm
you, Ms.
looking forward-
Freitag.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else online? Ms. Clark Reed, go right ahead.
Gwen?
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Don't.
Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way, Deerfield Beach. My question was about tomorrow night's meeting. Is it going to be on Zoom since it's at the Tech Center? And I wanted to know, would it be on Zoom? Also, at the meeting, District 2 meeting, the parcel of land that was shown as the city owning that land, I wanted to know who owned the land behind that property, the parcel that's just in to the west of that. Who owns that piece of property? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else online? All right, I'm going to close it to the public. Mr. Koyman, thanks for the conversation the other day and for the information. And obviously at the meeting, we'll be going over some of the other concerns. So thank you for getting involved and your input on it. One thing just to remind residents, and I believe that I'm accurate in this, and please tell me if I'm not, is swales technically, they're city right of way. So while we've been allowed to plant, I think over the years, and there've been plenty of that, it's always been at the condition that if work needs to be done in those right of ways, that would have to be removed. And you don't have to look any further than what the South Florida Water Management did all along the Hillsborough Canal, all the way from Parkland, all the way out to Deerfield Beach, in which they tore out all the vegetation. They've been there for years to put in what they needed to do, because, and even docks that were built, that were allowed to be built, but it was in the right of way. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge. I think even our own code says that technically trees aren't supposed to be put in the swale. And I'm sure 20 years ago, they probably weren't looking at that too closely when they did a joint effort on that. Mr. Santucci, am I incorrect?
No, Mayor, there's a section of code that says that a tree shall not be planted in the swale. And then there's a section of code that says what specifically types of trees could be planted in the swale with review and permit. So the truth of the matter is that swale area 20 years ago, it does not have the same conditions as it relates to stormwater as it does today. And we're looking at the best options we have to ensure that neighborhood is as resilient as possible from flooding, and recontouring those swales and preventing some of those tree species from being there is a means to achieve that.
And I'm sure that will all be discussed at that time,
Yes, it will.
at that meeting. Thank you very much. Mr. Freitag, thank you on the drones to music. That's an interesting concept, considering what we're facing with fireworks in with the barge this year. That's a very interesting suggestion. Thank you for that. And I love the fact that the city is being proactive in giving a violation before the inspection actually occurs. I think that's really impressive, but probably not what we should be doing. So we'll look into what the error was on that. But thanks for being proactive. Mr. Lubin, thank you for your service on that. Mr. Shinetsky, we will get back to you. I don't know. It's not our land. It's private property. So we'll have to get back to you on that. Let's see, I think I have everything. It's interesting that all of a sudden attacking the city attorney has become in vogue when you're the mouthpiece for someone that we're engaged in a lawsuit with. But if there was any corruption that we would see from our city attorney, I have no doubt that we'd be taking action on it. But considering there is none and he's held in the highest regard, there's no need to even pursue that. So the comparison makes absolutely no sense as usual to me by this individual. If you have under assessed property, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I do appreciate that. We'll look into that and find out what we can do to look into that. As far as the asphalt plan, again, we don't know who the mystery people are behind this giant campaign, but it's well funded and well organized, but mysterious, and highly suspect. But as was stated, the asphalt plant's been there since the 1970s. Airbnbs, Mr. City Attorney, can you give us a quick update on the Airbnb situation?
The city is still pursuant to state law preempted from regulating the frequency of Airbnbs or prohibiting Airbnbs. There was a bill that was taken up. I have to see whether the governor signed it into law that would at least provide a mechanism. We do registration. We do have a registration program. We adopted that a few years ago. And the law now at least provides clarity on the ability to suspend and or terminate a vacation rental registration if they have a certain amount of code violations and a certain frequency within a certain period of time. So if that bill is signed into law, that will at least provide a mechanism where potentially some of these Airbnbs could lose their license, either be suspended or lose their license if they continuously have code violations that are found on the property in multiple instances within a certain period of time.
Thank you. As far as this other stuff, look, we were promised irrefutable evidence by Mr. Hers and Ms. Amana. I haven't seen any of it. There hasn't been any irrefutable evidence of wrongdoing. You keep waiting. You can't come to the podium and beg people to come forward. You promised us months ago that there was something wrong here, and there wasn't. Well, we do know the Sunshine Law was violated. It was violated by Mr. Mishakas and Ms. Amana's group. We know that for a fact because we have the emails to prove it because they communicated during the cone of silence. What you don't have is any facts that say anybody else did. It was denied by all parties. Ms. Rossi, purchasing manager, because she was seen in a room, does not mean that something was violated. The room that she was in is the only room that she was really allowed to go into. As a matter of fact, that room, if Ms. Amana wasn't 15 minutes late to her own presentation, probably would have been waiting in there herself. It's just simply because she was seen there doesn't mean anything has happened. You ignore the signed documents that you submitted that says that you're supposed to be out of there, and you're coming to us asking us to actually do work on a property which you're essentially squatting on. It was suggested by the magistrate. Here's what the magistrate said in this court case that is going on. I'm not going to get too much into this, but here's what the magistrate said. $436,915.44 is with what Ms. Amana owes the city of Deerfield Beach for staying beyond her lease. That is what the magistrate has recommended in the court. She will look to pay $69,610.44 per month. Please tell me how the courts got it wrong and we've got this major conspiracy going, and yet you have absolutely no facts. This federal case is the first any of us up here have heard of it. I would love to know what the case number is. This nonsense is going to be played out in courts, and I look forward to taking this to the end to make sure everybody's reputation who's being sullied by people who have no idea what they're talking about and constantly contradict themselves will be exposed for being wrong, Wrong, wrong. Commissioner Preston.
Every once in a while, you know, when you hear people speak over and over again and you listen to the language that they use and you decipher it, sometimes it's a little bit more than just coming up here giving comments. You know, Mr. Hurst has come up here. This is the second time I've heard something tonight wherein, to me, and I might be wrong, and that's why I'm going to ask that it be clarified, but to me, he's making an accusation against the city manager, saying that the city manager had information that he did not disclose, and as a result of that, increment taxes were lost. Is that your assertion?
Without getting into it, this is what David Santucci said out loud 2 meetings ago.
Well, the thing is that, you know, my thing is that, you know, what's the point of this if there's something that has been done wrong, then we need to know what that is. But this is the second time I've heard this, and I haven't really heard anything that, you know, that he's done wrong. If he's done something wrong, then let's put it out there. Other than that, it shouldn't be mentioned, because what we're saying now, and this is the problem that we have, we are taking away trust from the community. Him having information, and I'd like to know from the city attorney, because this kind of stuff needs to stop. Was there something that was done wrong?
I'll take that. There's nothing done wrong, Commissioner. What I can tell you is that exactly how I explained the situation the last time this was discussed by Mr. Hers still stands and is true. We did not go before the Broward County Property Appraiser's office to ask them to revalue the property because we're in the midst of a negotiation with that property owner at the time. We did report it to the Broward County Property Appraiser. If Mr. Hers provided that information prior to the time that we did, great. They obviously didn't do anything at that time either. But what I can tell you is that we also reported it, but we waited until the negotiations were complete.
Okay, and what he's saying is that once you knew it, negotiations or not, you should have reported it. And I don't know.
And that is his opinion, and that's where I'll leave it.
Okay.
Thank you. You know, there are people who want it their way and they think their opinion is their opinion and they're the right ones with their opinion. And they like to spread the word corruption around because they have a limited vocabulary, apparently. But just because you disagree with an action doesn't mean it's corruption. Learn the word. Thank you.
We are now at the consent agenda item. Items 7 through 14 are currently on consent.
No, we're not. We closed it to, would you like to speak? Oh, I'm going to reopen if everyone's okay. If you guys who want to leave, go right ahead. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Hello, everyone. Jason Miller, 700 Southeast 6th Avenue. Thank you for your attention. I'll be brief. 3 quick points. Number 1, on the complete street project I noticed that was being spoken about earlier, the Hillsborough Bridge. Until we can get real bipartisan infrastructure money for that, I realize our resources are limited. So I'm recommending 2 lanes out, 1 lane in with a dedicated bike lane. There's a lot of traffic and sidewalks aren't even really being used for walking anymore. So that's point 1. We're trying to promote a carbon-free, car-free community. We need to do something with the bridge until we can build a newer, bigger, better bridge. Point number 2, ordinance 66-60A, parking time limit in city-owned lots is not signed anywhere and poorly communicated online. Limits are currently set at midnight, which is before businesses close. Like parking is, you're giving tickets before the establishments and restaurants and places close for business, which makes no sense. So I recommend that it be extended at least until after establishments have closed. And my third order of business is I saw Miss Silverstone's and Dr. Dan Chunk's slide with had the squares and all the different titles. And one of them was education, and it had a picture of a electric vehicle charger plugged in. Yet the entire city policy on electric vehicle charging, well, there's only 6 spaces, but there's tickets being given for no back-end parking, which is ordinance, 66-56(5) prohibits back-end parking. But due to the every vehicle has chargers in different locations. So making a policy that is blanket for all vehicles is causing motorists to stress the cords, which is breaking the hardware, which prevents us from cutting our emissions. So those 6 spaces, I realize that the meter guy doesn't want to get out of the car, but like for 6 spaces, EVs need to be able to plug in and back in if we're going to, try to cut our emissions. So that's my recommendation for that ordinance as well. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you. I'm gonna close it to the public.
Okay, we are now back on consent. Items 7 through 14 are currently on consent.
Commissioner, are there any polls? Okay. Is there anyone from the public that want to comment on any item 7 through 14? Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and public comments. Go ahead and come up. Just let us know which items you're commenting on. Gwen Clark, we will let you go first. Representative.
Mayor, I raised my hand because you didn't answer my questions from the public, open to the public.
I didn't know the answer, so we'll see if we can find that for you.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Dan Hurst, 330 Southeast 19th. Number 10, the Nextran Corporation purchase of a container delivery truck. My question is, could someone answer what is GT Supplies charging the city to perform container deliveries, removals, exchanges, and container repairs until the city gets its new container delivery truck? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is that it? Close it to the public then. City manager, you want to answer number 10? Oh, we'll let Chad.
Good evening. Chad Gressick, Director of Sustainable Management. Excuse me. This is a company we use as a vendor that does that service. That's basically it. We don't have a truck, so they come in and they do the work.
And what does that work? Maybe I think that
they move dumpsters.
Okay.
How much is that? How much do we pay?
7,000. So it's significant.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Motion to improve items 7 through 14.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hudak, second by Commissioner Parnas. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Drosky,
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes.
Item number 15 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the first 1-year renewal term of the contract with Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company for fireworks display for city events, providing for a price adjustment and additional cost for the use of the barge for the event in accordance with the contract terms, authorizing execution of the contract renewal, providing for implementation and effective date.
City Attorney or City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. So this item is got a couple things going on with it, and I want to first recognize that it was placed on the agenda late, and I want to apologize for that, but time is really of the essence. So we are up for renewal on this contract, and with that renewal has come a request from the vendor for a cost increase that is beyond what we would normally accept in terms of a consumer price increase. We have seen information from both the vendor and evidence out there in the general public that the cost of fireworks have since the pandemic have risen approximately 35%. So they are asking for a significant increase, as you can see in the backup documentation, as it relates to the firework show this year. Why didn't they ask for this increase last year? Because we could not have the same sized fireworks show for the 4th of July last year that we did the year prior, because we didn't have the luxury of using the T portion of the pier. So when we have the T portion of the pier, we're able to launch bigger mortars because they're not as close to the public. I think they call it the fallout zone, is further away. So the show, we were actually able to absorb those costs last year when we were closer, to the, not using the T portion of the pier, we were a little bit closer, so the shells are smaller, so the cost was able to be absorbed. The other part of that is we are scheduled to have the pier under renovations by, before July 4th. So we have to secure a barge, and we were notified by the contractor that we needed to do that now, and waiting even till the next meeting in May could compromise our ability to get a barge to launch our fireworks. So between the cost increases and the cost of a barge, which the barge was already contemplated as an alternate item in the contract, we have, this item before you today. I can tell you that even though we do believe that the costs are justified as it relates to what they're asking for the fireworks show, we do think it's in the city's best interest to go out to bid after this is after the 4th of July and just test the market again. But in the essence of time, and to ensure that we have a fireworks show for the 4th of July, this is the best price that we have at this point.
Okay. Commissioner Parnas.
So the idea of drones, then we will postpone till next year
Well,
due to the shortness of time.
Sure. There's two things I would say about drones. One, we don't have the real estate on our beach or the pier to launch drones. We've already looked into that. So you would have to use a barge in order to launch the drones. The drone show itself is also typically, as we've looked into it, more costly than a firework display. So that would be some things for the commission to consider.
Okay. Anyone from the public care to comment on this item?
Dan Hers, 330 Southeast 19th Avenue. I've been watching these fireworks displays for the 20 years that I've been doing business or living in Deerfield Beach. And every year it was wonderful, except for last year. And I don't know if everybody has short memories, but it was roundly criticized. I never found out whose fault it was, but many people left very, very disappointed. So I don't remember who the vendor was last year, but I'm curious if this is the same vendor that we're now looking to contract with. And if it is, and again, I don't remember because obviously this was just brought up now and had no time to research it. If this is the same vendor, how could we have not gotten some type of price break from this vendor for the absolutely dismal performance that happened last 4th of July? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Jason Miller, 700 Southeast 6th Avenue. Just in regards to air quality, I think fireworks are a horrible decision. I don't know if the drones are reusable, but sounds like a better option. Dogs hate them. Air pollution's bad. Just seems like 10th century China technology. Maybe, try something different.
9th century, maybe.
9th? 10th?
9th. Yeah, about there.
In the ballpark.
Good point, though. Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Freitag?
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street. Mimicking off of what Mr. Hers requested, I do believe that it is the same exact vendor that we had last year. And I thought they were supposed to give us a discount on Founders Weekend or July 4th due to their due to the literally 4-minute fireworks display that we got last year. I thought they were supposed to come back and give us a discount either on the Founders or weekend fireworks or this weekend fireworks or July 4th weekend fireworks. If somebody could please verify whether that was done or not, I'd like to find out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else online? I'm gonna close it to the public. City Manager, regarding those comments?
Sure. And just in case there's any confusion, this is a contract renewal, which would mean that this is the existing vendor who did the work last year. 4th of July, there were some issues. Last 4th of July, there were some issue with the fireworks, but they made that up to us at Pioneer Day. So Ms. Freitag is correct.
Okay. I do want us to explore looking at drones and find out what the public would prefer over that. But I think there's some good points made up on doing that in the future. I know we're on short term. We don't want to disappoint people again this year with our 4th of July. And I hate the idea of using a barge and then they're used all the time. So I think it's a lot more dangerous also, but it is what it is. So I understand where we're at with it. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion for Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Parnas.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Drosky,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
We are now at comments by administration and legal. No comments from legal tonight.
I have a few this evening, Mayor and City Commission. First and foremost, I want to Commissioner Preston. I want to make sure that you know that my earlier dialogue with you, I felt a little frustrated with the what was being said by the public, and so that was not, I hope you know, pointed at you if I sounded frustrated in my tone. So if I did, I apologize. In no way, obviously, hopefully that was not towards you.
I do. I was just looking for clarification.
Thank you. I want to update the City Commission on Johnny McKeithen Park. I want to commend code enforcement, Parks and Recreation, and law enforcement who have been just doing a tremendous job with cleaning up that park with many of the illicit activities that have been occurring in there for a very long time. I can't really get into too much about how they're able to make such a dent in the issue at this point, other than they're paying attention and they are doing an excellent job. One of the things that we have learned through their efforts is that a contributing factor to the illicit activity and the ability to be in that park when you're not supposed to be there is unfortunately the wood fence that surrounds that park. If you remember, originally put in to try to beautify the area. It was the will of the commission to direct staff to put back up a fence, which we did. It is a better quality and more aesthetically pleasing fence than the one that was there before. The fence that was there before was simply a metal chain link fence, and it was very much deteriorated. This is a brand new black vinyl coated fence. So aesthetically, it is a much nicer looking fence. But what's happening is the idea was that, possibly we could leave the wood fence there and it would still have that kind of aesthetic look to it. But really all it's really created is a big stepping stone for people to jump over the chain link fence. So the idea is to remove it. In some cases that wood fence is about 4 feet high on an 8-foot high fence. So it is causing many law enforcement issues. So we'll have the ability to repurpose that fence into other parks. The school board, news came out today that unfortunately Dr. Licata has announced his retirement, and just as quickly they have appointed a new superintendent effective today, who is Dr. Howard Hepburn, who was a deputy superintendent with the school board. So I really don't have much more to go on other than just to report the news to the commission about that community event at this point. And as mentioned earlier, we do have the ULI density workshop coming up tomorrow. Really looking forward to that. quite frankly, I haven't been able to check to see if that is available online, but I will ensure that I do provide that to Ms. Gwen Clark Reed before tomorrow night. And to answer her question, the property west of the property that was discussed is owned by Natura. I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now at City Commission business. Item 16 is a discussion regarding establishing this expense allowance for mayor and city commissioners.
Bill, do you want me to open that? since
Sure.
It's mine.
Yes, sir.
I personally have been representing Deerfield Beach for over 10 years. First with the Broward County Planning Council, and 7 years now as commissioner. When I look at all the other cities in Broward County, I get sick. Tamarack, expense allowance, $6,000 a year. Travel allowance, $10,000 a year. Coconut Creek, $600 a month expenses. Cooper City, discretionary fund of $3,000, and you can roll it over if you don't use it. Coral Springs, mayor expense allowance for $4,600, commissioners $3,700, plus travel allowances. Dania Beach, $10,000 per elected official. Deerfield Beach, $0. $0. We use our own cars. We go through our districts. We go to meetings. I represented us at Broward County and had to be there once or twice a month at my own expense. I think asking $200 a month for expenses for the commissioners and the mayor is more than reasonable, especially with the cost of gasoline, car insurance, home insurance. I hate to say this, but if the associations pay for the commissioner and say, you're entitled to bring a guest, and you find out it's $125 to have dinner at the Diplomat. Plus, of course, you got to valet park your car for $25. So it's another $150 out of your pocket that you may not have. And I'm thinking of not just me, but I'm thinking of the future of the commissioners of Deerfield Beach. Why are we being treated like orphans? Every other city spends a great deal of money on their commissioners and their mayor, and we spend nothing. $0. Bupkis. Why? I don't know about, I can only speak for myself. 7 days a week, I drive through my entire district. What am I looking for? Illegal contractors, people who dump and make the city look terrible when they're not supposed to put mattresses and couches out, except on a designated day. And I'm in touch probably more than anybody else with code enforcement, because I care about how this city looks and how it represents itself to the world. And there are a lot of people who just don't give a damn. They don't care what it looks like. It's easier for me on Thursday to put a couch out that may be not picked up until the following Wednesday. Then it rains and it gets wet, and then rats live in it for 5 days or 6 days. But I care. And that's what my constituents elected me to do, is to care. I work 7 days a week in my district. My phone is never off. I have 2 phones, city phone and my personal phone. Both are published in every newspaper that'll put it up, like the Reporter, which right now, season isn't totally over, probably represents 16,000 of my constituents. Today, I only had 32 phone calls. Slow day. to help people with their problems. I'm asking this commission to look out after itself. If all these other cities, Fort Lauderdale, $750 a month, Lauderhill, $1,050 a month in expenses per commissioner. $200 barely covers the increase in gas prices, but it's an offering, it's something. It shows that people care enough about the commission to help it out in time of need. And today is time of need. Not all of us have 2 and 3 and 4 other jobs or a business. Some of us devote their entire time to the city. I do, not because I have to, but because I want to. I want this to be the best place in Florida to live. And I work at it. 10 years on the Planning Council. And what did I get applause for once in 10 years? Stopping Waste Management from expanding the dump. So I ask my fellow commissioners, look deep, look hard, and look at everybody else, and then say, why are we behind the 8 ball? We did something. We raised salaries of our employees to compete with the other cities. Yet we've neglected our commissioners. I'm saying it's about time that stopped right now.
Thank you. Commissioner Preston.
Your points are well taken, Commissioner. And the fact that there is not something, an allowance allowed, and perhaps it would be appropriate to do so. This job is considered a part-time job. It's a part-time job. But there's nobody here that do it part-time. It's a full-time job. I know what it is to, as all of my colleagues, to get home late at night, going to see constituents, not just one person's problem, but there's a multiplicity of issues that are concerning to each and every commissioner. Now, I've not really even thought about what, until you brought this up, what they're doing in other cities. Would it be appropriate to do it in the city of Deerfield Beach? Perhaps. But I will tell you, I'm just going to do what I need to do, irregardless, because sometimes these kinds of things, unless the public has, and not just an open mind, but they are objective about whatever you're debating or you're looking at, is it appropriate? And that's really what it boils down to. Is it appropriate that because other cities are doing it, that we should do it? If it's right to do, it would be right from the perspective of, here's what is required of a commissioner to make the job easier. So if there is some sort of amenities that would be attached to it, then that's fine. But I think everybody here is going to continue to do what they need to do to represent their constituents, because, you know, you do what you need to do. And there is no sympathies for all of the challenges that you have to embrace as a commissioner. And there is not one, it's just my personal belief, I don't think there is one commissioner doing something so much more than is another. Everybody up here knows what it's like to give up themselves. But part of that is because we chose to be in this position. It's called servant. We are a servant. Now, as we grow and you know, you mentioned the different cities that are doing it. My belief is that it would be a right thing to do, not something that should be considered. I had not considered it till you brought it up, Commissioner. I think it would be the right thing to do, but if we don't, I'm just going to continue to do what I need to do, and I know that every other commissioner up here is going to do the exact same thing. So the debate ought to be around, not because other cities are doing it, but what do we do to address the situation in Deerfield Beach? And if we say that there should be some sort of amenity, what would that be? What would that look like? Because ultimately, if there is a question from anyone as a resident of the city, we ought to be able to answer that. We ought to be able to say, here's the reason why. That actually, I would not want anything simply because Pompano Beach is doing it, or Fort Lauderdale is doing it, or Lauderhill is doing it. I think it's appropriate in that if it would allow me to be more effective of serving here in the city of Deerfield Beach, then it's okay. But just because another city is doing it, I feel that at the core, it's the right thing to do. But I'm not going to make it a big deal.
Thank you, Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very well spoken, sir. I don't think in fact, I know none of us are doing this for financial gain. We're doing this because we are servants to our community. And we do it because it's the right thing to do. And I also will not stop doing what I'm doing, however we vote on this item. But I do know that the city does pay for a lot of the events that we do go to. Albeit a lot of them are volunteer benefits that we volunteer our time to go to, that some of them are paid, Sip and Stroll being one of them. So I'm not sure if an expense account is going to offset a lot of the things that the city already does provide us. But there is, we do have to look at it, in totality. Again, I'm not doing this for financial gain. And I know nobody up here is, because I've served with you now for over 5 years. And I know, your morals and your values. And I am honored, and I've said it more than one time, being up here with all of you. But we also have to look at the future. In a year, 3 of the commission seats will have been termed out. 2 years after that, the other 2 will be. And we have to make sure that we attract individuals who want to serve the community. And again, you should not want to do it for any financial gain, but it does cost money. It does cost time. And that's something that, we do have to look at too, in order to attract talented individuals like the individuals that are up here now, to represent us when we're just residents. So I've never really thought of it either, but it is something that I think we should consider. I would like to hear the city manager's take on my comments with regards to, the things that the city has already paid for us, and where we would go with that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Drosky.
Thank you, Mayor. With anything else that we do up here, the devil is always going to be in the details. And so I'm not sure how a proposed ordinance would be crafted in this regard, because, no matter what, there's going to be a segment of the public that's going to criticize us for, oh, this is just another commission goodie. They're just giving themselves another benefit, and that's going to be perceived out there. So this has to be very carefully crafted, that we're not giving ourselves an extra benefit, that this is carefully tied to our official duties as commissioners and mayor. My colleagues are spot on with their comments that this is definitely not a part-time job, and we definitely don't do this for the money, but we definitely spend our own money while doing this. I will give you that. Driving around the county to all the different events that we go to. I mean, there's a lot of gas there. All of the, ribbon cutting and events that you go to, these stores have their gift cards, they have their t-shirts, they have their mugs. We're not obligated to buy that, but you're there and you want to support your local business. I have a drawer full of t-shirts. And in fact, Commissioner Hudak and I have competing 33441 and 33442 hats that we bought at an event that we went to. So we definitely invest a lot of our own individual. I have a Deerfield Bison's jersey that I can remember purchasing back when shortly after being elected. So we definitely spend a lot of our own individual money in this role that the public probably doesn't even realize. Now, how do you bridge that? How do you bridge that gap? You know, so I mean, I think anything has to be directly tied to our official duties. And just a generic amount, I don't think does it for me. Traveling within our own city, I don't think that's reimbursable. I mean, we go talk to residents, we go to events within our city. That just comes with the territory. But if you're going to an event in Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, West Palm Beach, that and you're taking your own vehicle, then that may be something else. But I think you can put in for, and I think you can put in for that now. You can put in for mileage now if you go to an event. We just don't take advantage of it. We just don't do it. I mean, first of all, who has the time to keep track of that? And then to submit it, it's just kind of a nightmare right now. So what I think we should be more focusing on is the absurd travel policy that we have here in the city. You get like $6 for breakfast when you're traveling. You can't even buy a bagel for $6. I think you get like $16 or some insane amount for lunch. I'm the representative for the city and went to the National League of Cities, went to a kiosk for lunch, got a crummy sandwich, a bag of chips, no lunch, and I was over the allotment for lunch already and still starving to death. So I think that, if anything, needs to be so you're out your own money buying a city lunch at an event because you're over the travel allowance. So people think, so we definitely spend our own money and lots of it up here. So maybe targeting that would be a better approach, but just a generic $200 that's not tied to anything. Because what if I don't travel in a particular month? What if I'm a future commissioner, and I just sit at home the entire time? They're not entitled to $200 a month. So I think if you can tie the expense to the activity, and you can put those details in an ordinance, I will consider it. I'm highly on the fence regardless, but that's something that I would consider. But leaving it so generic when it's in our official duties anyway, and when we're in our own city, we probably should be taking our own vehicle and driving around town, meeting with our residents, going to all these different events. I think that's part of our official duties. But if something comes forward that I can see on paper and review, and it's more, like I said, directly tied to our attendance at official duties, more so outside the city than in, I'd look at that. But the travel policy is really where we should be focusing our attention.
Thank you. Before I let you speak again, Commissioner Parnas, I know this is just a discussion. There's no action that we're taking on this, but if any future action comes forward, I agree. The travel policy is extraordinarily restrictive. We were I think we were in the airport, got stuck for breakfast, and it was a muffin and a water, and that we already broke the bank on that. I had to reach in our own pocket on that one. So it's a little absurd on that. But anything else, I've been doing this a long time, 15 years in office. I cannot tell you how much money I've spent doing it. And it's not something, it just comes with the territory. I've served on the MPO. I traveled down there. I served on the Broward County Planning Council representing the city. Those are things that I didn't have to do, but you volunteer for it. And I don't expect to be reimbursed for it because it's a privilege to hold this office, and you know what you signed up for. And I understand you're trying to do this for future people. You're not doing it for yourself. So I understand that. Look, there's a lot of benefits to it also. I mean, I live rent free in Dan Herz's head for years. If he's ever decided to charge me, I'd be in big trouble. And he's not the only one. So I'm not just picking on you, Dan. But the truth of the matter is, there are some benefits to this. But yeah, it does cost a lot of money. I don't want to do like others do. I think it's too complicated. I think it's not warranted. I think the travel if anything comes forward, travel policy, certainly I'd be open-minded to that. Anything else, I'm not really, I don't know whose this is. I'm not really going to entertain supporting it, but travel policy would be the only thing. So Commissioner Parnas.
I'm a little disappointed, gentlemen. Some of you have 3 jobs to make a living. Some of you have businesses. Some of us just have the commission. And it's a full-time job. And I hate to say we're underpaid, but compared to the other cities that we compete with, we just had a whole thing where we had to raise employees and department head salaries to keep them because they're being stolen by other cities because they pay more. Yet you ask the commissioners, too bad, live with what we give you. I don't think it's right. When I look at all the other cities that are paying more than we are, not only in salary, but expenses and travel and other things, why are we so poor? What did the commissioners do to deserve to be paid less than the other cities? We work as hard. Maybe some of us work harder, yet we're undercompensated. And asking for a small amount, like 200 a month, when you have people earning 700-800 a month in expenses, some over 1,000, and we get nothing. Zero, fuck this. It's not going to change one's lifestyle, but it certainly will help those of us who work as hard as we do, and it's our only job. If you're suggesting that all the commissioners go out and get a career or another job and do this part-time, the city would lose. Because it is a full-time job, and we do it out of love. And what I'm asking for is not extraordinary. Didn't ask for $1,000 a month, 500 a month. It would still be the lowest paid of almost every city in the county. And you look at the list, and I have it here for anybody who wants to look at it. Of all the cities and what they're paying, I see one here, travel allowance 10,000, expenses 6,000. $16,000 in extra money, plus their salary, and we get nothing. Why? Somebody tell me why we're paying so much less than other cities. Are we so disrespectful of ourselves and the work we did?
I will say this for me, for one, this isn't an occupation, it's a calling. This is my full-time, part-time job. I mean, that's the truth. It's one of the many that I put on my tax return, but this is not something that the money is a bonus. But, you know, when I was sitting out there in the audience as what would they call me? An activist. You know, I wasn't paid for that, but I put the time in because that's what you do when you care about it. So I get it. And I'm not criticizing you for doing it. I just disagree. That's great what other cities are doing. I'm not sure where their salary lines up with ours, but I think I don't want a candidate who's up here running for office. The guy, when I first ran for mayor, the guy I ran against, he ran for this position because it paid a certain amount of money. In a deposition, under oath, he said the reason you ran was financial. He said financial. You don't want people like that running for office. So that's not why I do it. I get it. I think, you know, there are certain expenses that need to be covered. But I think for the most part, going into this area, in my opinion, is not something we need to do. But that's just my opinion. Commissioner Preston?
Yeah, Commissioner Parnas, my question to you would be, what number are you suggesting?
$400 a month.
Okay, take it easy now. We're just talking.
It's not like it's $1 million. Like other cities are paying $1,000 a month. $200 a month.
You answer the question. You answered the question, Commissioner.
Okay, one of the things that I think that we've lost in this discussion is something that my colleague said to me. And I started to think after he said it, and he said, you know, this commission in a period of time is going to be gone. And you don't use that as a recruiting tool, but it is a way to say that we understand the nature of the job, and it's going to require a lot of time. All of the people that are sitting out there, you know, want to be represented in the right way, and not necessarily by politicians, but rather good servants. And if we were to keep it in that category in order to be a functional, efficient, good servant, it may take, $200 a month. That's a nominal. That's not a lot, Commissioner. And if it can be, you get with the city manager or whatever, you can craft that into an ordinance and bring it before, we'll discuss it and we'll vote on it, either pass out. But I don't think that that's out of line, $200 a month. I don't think, but I think that, we should do it in a way that if it was going to be done, that the public have input into that. But what Commissioner Hudak said is absolutely true. There are going to be people that are going to be in these seats, and they need to know it's going to take a lot to do the job and to do it right. And what if they're not willing to commit? Nobody will really ever know. All this would be saying is that we want you to do a good job. We want you to do it easier because we know that you're going to be paying money for your gas. And in a certain meeting where I want to be represented, I need you to go, and you might not go. So I think that's reasonable. That's reasonable. So I'm willing to see what would be the next step in the process. Okay. So that's where I am.
Mayor, I can't tell if anybody else has their light on, and I don't have a light, so I'll just raise my hand whenever I can get in there.
Okay, I'll let you speak and then we'll go back to Commissioner Parnas and hopefully put it into this.
Okay, thank you. There was a question from Commissioner Hudak, and I want to address that, and that was related to expenses and what that may or may not cover. And just to give you some context of what already is currently being done, through the city commission's budget, we budget for your travel related expenses that are in the official capacity of you as a commissioner. Also, you are actually eligible for mileage reimbursement here locally, but I will tell you that's it's a little bit messy of a process, and as Commissioner Drosky said, that's requires a lot of discipline on your part to track the mileage, and it has to be for specific business purposes and travel to certain meetings and within your official capacity, so on and so forth. And now there are different things in the menu of options that I think were provided to you and examples of what other cities do. And yes, there's a blanket expense allowance. There are auto allowances. There are cell phone allowances. You see some cases where you see a travel allowance that appears to be pretty exorbitant. Maybe it's $5,000. But what I can tell you is that in those situations, the city staff and the city otherwise is not responsible for the travel of that individual commissioner, right? So there are some benefits to having that travel responsibility within the city in a budgeted line item in which, you have an administrative support staff to help to, arrange certain, travel arrangements and that sort of thing that is customary. But when you look at what we could potentially craft in an expense allowance, we would have to take into consideration certain things that are already being provided for, to the city commission and make some determinations and some objective determinations or recommendations to the city commission of what should be included and excluded as it relates to what is the current business practice today. I do agree with the comments related to the travel policy. I will say that that's actually in draft revision right now. And what we're looking to do is change that from the state of Florida rate to the GSA rate when you travel. So it's the GSA rate. You can just simply go to a website. You can say, I'm traveling to, I don't know, I'll pick Dallas, and they have a certain rate for Dallas expenses. They have a certain rate for Mobile, Alabama, or San Francisco. You get the picture. So we're looking to address that here shortly. And I think I've covered all the dialogue that was had today. I will say that if the city commission would like for staff to explore this further, I would like to go down that road with a motion in the affirmative. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Parnas, final remarks.
Second. But one of the things that would bother me, I've survived 7 years on my salary as commissioner. I'm not complaining about it. But I don't want to see somebody who's retired on Social Security and is a dynamo, would make a great commissioner, say, I can't afford it. I just can't afford it. I'm barely getting by now. My brain works. I have the time. I'm not about to be a food checker at Walmart. I even have a law degree and I'm retired. But $30,000 a year with no expense money, just, it would drain I wouldn't be able to go to the movies. We're not giving certain people who want to serve the opportunity. We're drawing a line. If you don't have another income, $31,000 is it. You don't like it, don't run. You don't have another job, don't run. Prices are going up, insurance is out of sight. A lot of Canadians where I live are moving, selling their apartments because they're taking American dollars home with them to Canada while prices are still high. Why? Because they're not homesteaded and their tax bill was humongous and they can't afford it. I'm looking down the road as well as now. I didn't think $200 a month per commissioner and maybe $50 more for the mayor would be terrible. I think it would enthuse more people into running so that we have a better choice next time than just those who can afford it and maybe or maybe not be able to spend the time. It gives us the opportunity as people to get a wide assortment of candidates and let them live in some degree of security. I would probably think that 80% of all the employees of Deerfield Beach make more than the commissioners.
I hope so.
I hope so too. So with that, what would be the next step, city attorney or city manager?
Well, I think administration's looking for direction on
Yes.
what, if anything, to bring you back.
Well, look, you've heard all our comments. If Commissioner Preston, Commissioner Parnas comes up with something that he wants to bring forward, then he should get with you and do that. I think he's got a vibe for where we're all at. If he chooses to do that, that's fine.
Well, I think it needs further discussion. And if it's going to require a vote.
So you've got Commissioner Preston said he'd be open-minded to it.
Yeah.
You've got Vice Mayor Drosky, you said what? Travel?
I'm on the fence, but not leaning toward it.
Okay. On the fence, I'm not on the fence. I say no, but others there, so you might want to craft something then.
Understood.
Is that enough? Okay.
Okay, we are now at comments by mayor and city commission.
Thank you.
Okay. District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we discussed earlier, we do have an 8th Avenue storm drainage meeting that's going to take place right here in City Hall. It's on April 23rd at 7 o'clock. So I hope all of those that I've talked to and that have talked to other members do show up. I know it was a shock to see what is planned. It's a $2.8 million project. The important part is we're trying to save homes. I'd love to save as many trees as possible, and I'm working with the city manager so that we can communicate what are the types of trees that can be replaced and planted. We will do everything we can to replace any trees that have been removed, but they probably will not be on city property. But the important part is I've been here since 1997. And between 1997 and 2017, I experienced 100-year storm, and I figured I was good for 80 years. Since then, I've experienced 3 more. And we already know that 8th Avenue was underwater for one of them and very close to underwater for a second one. These storms are getting more severe. They're becoming more, they're coming more often. And as a city, we have to be proactive and we have to do everything that we can to save the homes that are in our city. I don't want to be like Fort Lauderdale, who waited too long in order to find solutions. Yes, it is a shock of what is planned with regards to the trees. I know that there was a city program. I took advantage of it. I paid $50 for each of my foxtail palms and had the city plant them. And yeah, they're in the city property as well, on the swale in front of my house. So I understand the situation, but at the end of the day, it's your home that's a lot more important than a foxtail palm tree. And if we have to move those trees and replace them on your property, that's a small price to pay to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to save your home when the next 100-year storm comes. So I look forward to seeing everybody on the 23rd at 7 o'clock right here at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. Regrettably, have to inform you that a longtime resident of Deerfield Beach, educator, Miss Leola Brooks, passed away yesterday. And she's well known, and she was a wonderful, wonderful person. Work with kids. They had the reading over at Deerfield Park Ridge. I was with her, and I watched her in the classroom, and she just was energetic at 90. I forget how old she was, but she was very energetic. I know you know her, Janice, just a tremendous person, but she has left us, but she leaves a tremendous legacy. I also want to just remind all of you of the ribbon cutting for Braithwaite, which is going to be on May 11th, 9 a.m. to 11. Please mark that. Braithwaite ribbon cutting. And I have to tell you, and I'll just extend this to my colleagues, if you haven't gone over there, you will be impressed. It is, from the outside, it doesn't look as big as it is on the inside. It is a great, great building. It's just humongous and it's just some wonderful things. This is a credit to our city, of which all of you should just take credit in. This is big. The city manager and staff, it's just impressive. It's absolutely impressive. You should take the time to go over there and have Jonathan give you a tour. You will be impressed. And come May 11th, I can tell you that this community is going to celebrate this. What a great thing. And I'm very excited about that. I'm getting calls basically every day. And the last thing I want to say is that, Mr. City Manager, I want to know what is the methods that we're getting the news out, because already some people are telling me that on Facebook that people are going, I get so tired of accusations. I really do. There's certain people going to be denied. You can't come to Braithwaite. And I said, where'd you get that from? There's no such thing. But that's some of the news that is out there. So how are we getting this news out to the churches, to the community? I'd like to know.
I can give you, a comprehensive, I think we're going to meet later this week. I can give you a comprehensive list of the activities that we're doing, but generally speaking, I can tell you, first of all, we've got a very comprehensive, invite list.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that all of our community partners, the churches,
Good.
the nonprofits who support the center, the elected officials who support the center, both, whether it's another city, county, state representatives, all the way up. We're doing that. Then we're going to have social media posts. We've got, we're letting the people at the center know, and we're giving them the flyers, making sure that they are telling, their
Good.
friends and family to attend it. And there are a host of other things, but I can provide that to you when we meet.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. District 3? District 3?
Oh, District 3, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't hear you. Being that we have 8,000 summer residents in Century Village, I'm moving our operation to assist voters in checking on their registration to Century Village. I have the volunteers, and we're going to be starting next week based on what days the volunteers can come. If there's a need for the form, anybody coming to a city hall meeting can see me after the meeting. I will give them the form to take home and fill out. Over 1 million people have been removed from the voting rolls. If you voted ever by mail, you've been removed from the voter registration rolls by the legislature and the governor, and you have to fill out this form. I have the forms. I will bring them starting next meeting. After the meeting, I will hand them to you. You can take them home, mail them, and you're done. Just fill it out. I'll show you how. It's done. Because the most precious thing we have is our vote, our opinion. I don't ask people who or what or where or how. They can vote for whatever they want. They can write in Mickey Mouse for president. That's their privilege. But vote they should. Because giving up that right is what's the difference between us and barbaric banana republics. We must maintain our right to vote where the majority wins. And so I implore everybody that can hear me, check on your registration. You can do it by the form, you can do it by computer, you can do it by phone, by calling the supervisor of elections. But filling out the form updates your signature so your ballot won't be rejected. Between now and November, your signature is not going to change. But the last time you registered, it may have. So I ask everybody, vote. Thank you.
Thank you. District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. I look forward to the upcoming Southwest 8th Street meeting. Madam Clerk, if I could please get a copy or in my box or weekly packet, the petition and backup that was given to you tonight. There was mentioned there was a cover letter, a petition, and other backup materials. I would like a copy of that, please, in preparation and review for that meeting, please. Commissioner Preston, if you find any information, could you please share with us it with respect to Ms. Brooks' funeral? So we could pass along our condolences to the family. That would be nice. And it's sad, very sad news. Thank you for sharing that. But if you could share with the commission any funeral arrangements, that would be appreciated as well. And I'll end on a high note. The last thing that I have, Mayor, is this Saturday, April 20th, is the Sip and Stroll at Constitution Park, one of the premier events for District 4. For those of you who have not been to the Arboretum, word is getting out, but it is a gem in our city. It's bigger and better this year. Bigger not in the amount of attendees, but in the amount of vendors that will be there and the food options that will be available. So tickets are almost a sellout, I hear. So please mark your calendars, contact the Parks and Rec Department for your tickets for this Saturday at Constitution Park, 6:00 p.m. to 10:00 p.m. Again, that's this Saturday. And that's all that I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to thank, a few meetings back, we had a resident come in that was in District 2 that was complaining about littering and how it was becoming a major problem. I want to thank BSO. I want to thank our code enforcement. I want to thank our staff. I want to thank Commissioner Preston for working on that. There was an arrest made. It wasn't a simple, hey, there's littering. There's this, this is a minor problem. It was a very serious issue, and they made a couple of arrests on that, I believe. So I think that's outstanding. So really glad to see that we were able to address that and do something about it. So thank you very much for everybody's engagement on that. I want to thank BSO. We're really lucky. In my opinion, we have the two best chiefs. Every time I've been in office here that we get a new chief, I'm thinking you're never going to be better than the last one. And it's really hard to do because they've all been great, but we have the best chiefs right now. And I'm so pleased with them, but thank you for your work that you've done with some of the missing people issues that we've had recently, and also working on some of these crime issues that were going on. So thank you so much for what you're doing with that. But I'm still going to say, please, more enforcement on speeding in our city, because it's a major problem. I know people get really concerned if I don't show up to an event, so I just want to announce it. I'll be tending to a family member. I'll be out of town this week, and so I'll miss the sip and stroll. So stroll longer and sip more for me, if you could. Commissioner Preston, thanks for bringing it to our attention about Leona Brooks. That is a huge loss for this city. What a wonderful lady. Some of you may not have read in the Sun Sentinel, the county, with the new laws that have been passed regarding PFAs, is now threatening to have to raise their rates 2 to 3 times. They could double or triple their rates just to be able to keep up with the new requirements. I want to praise city staff for being proactive on that and moving forward with things, anticipating this type of thing and doing that. We're in a much better situation than other cities, and certainly the county is going to be. So thank you for that proactive thinking. I appreciate that. And that's a really good job. I do want to thank Hillary and Patrick and all the residents who came out the pollinator garden planning and putting in some work. I talked to the city manager that maybe they should let us know what the dress code is, because wearing white pants to a gardening planting is not the right thing. And I thought it was just a ribbon cutting. So I think I'd address appropriately next time, try to get dirty. So, but thank you for that. The Braithwaite opening, I want to go back and find all the people that said that we shouldn't do that. I want to pull up their social media posts and invite them so everybody can stand up and see how wrong they were. Not hard to find them. Some of them are admins on local sites that you can find. But they told us we shouldn't spend our money on this. And this is a tremendous thing, not just for District 2, the city of Deerfield Beach, but the entire surrounding area, because this is not just about Deerfield Beach and what it does. And it shows their ignorance in regarding what this means to the community and what it means to all of the people that participate in that there. And the fact that it's going to be named Braithwaite, I think that's phenomenal. So you deserve a lot of credit for that. Thank you very much, Commissioner Preston. But I look forward to that. But I really want to drag those clowns out and let them, because it was ridiculous to say some of the things that I saw being said at the time. And I'm glad we stuck to our guns and ignored the nonsense and moved forward with it. I think that's everything I have. Thank you so much. Looking for adjournment.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.